a founding member of Zero, one of the most vibrant jazz bands in the Denver metro area. Welcome, David.
Thank you.
David, how does the vibrant jazz community enrich the diversity of the Denver metro area?
Well, in my opinion, one thing is that the jazz music, it doesn't come from necessarily one cultural or community type. I mean, they've all provided input and put in, from Hispanic with Santana to our Afro-American to the, everybody has got a little something that they've thrown in. Jazz is sort of like a music stew, and everybody's kind of contributed to it. And you'll find that in the musicians themselves that play the music themselves. You'll find, depending on who you even play with, that there's something unique with each performance, and it brings people together from all backgrounds and all diversities, and that's one of the things I think that makes it a really tremendous art form.
What is your vision of the future of jazz in the region?
Well, I'd like to see it grow as far as more outlets. We have an interesting situation where, in the last few years, jazz has sort of shot itself in the foot. You have the idea that what is jazz and what isn't jazz, and I've always pictured it, because I'm more of a contemporary jazz musician. I came out more of a rock background, but I picture jazz as a tree, and there's the trunk, that's the guys, those are the people that built it, but there are a lot of branches off that trunk, and we're part of that tree. You don't have to be necessarily straight ahead or salsa or smooth jazz or whatever, but we're all part of the same tree, and we need to remember that and use that as a tool to further the music in this state. I mean, in this city. This is a great city for jazz. I mean, you obviously have Chicago, Kansas City, New York, but you move beyond that in a sense that the people that play here, we're a family for one thing, but what we need to do is realize that the contemporary guys, if you get started with Kenny G, and then you move on to the Yellow Jackets, and then you move on to Charlie Bird, that is a strategic way of keeping the art alive. But we don't need to be, part of it is the marketing thing, and I'm being way too long-winded.
That's all right. You want to summarize what you want to say, and then we can edit.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, as a family in jazz, we need to come together and understand that there are different branches of the tree. I grew up with the Beals and Steely Dan and the Doobie Brothers. Of course, I'm going to be, influenced by them, as well as the people in the jazz world. Playing in jazz band my whole life through high school and going to school at the University of Colorado, and I got a degree in scoring and arranging, and I played in the jazz band there. You obviously have these influences that are going to work together. And I mean, it's just like evolution. That's what the founding fathers of jazz did too.
How would you like to see the business community support the jazz community?
Make me rich. That would be my first answer. No, I think it's they need to get behind and make sure that we're taking care of, that we have had in the past a very rich legacy in the Denver Public Schools in jazz education. And, as well as when they move on. But those things, we need to make sure the kids have the arts in junior high and high school, and that they have the means. They have if a kid doesn't have a horn, if a kid doesn't have a guitar, or a bass, a bass viol is a big, and it's hard to carry it home, So maybe have one for him at home and one for him at school. But those kind of donations and those kind of things, and if they'll make sure that we have those things, the kids will gravitate toward jazz. Jazz is innately creative. It's not like you necessarily have to do what they tell you to do. You learn, but you have a creative outlet in that. I mean, you obviously had Ron Miles on earlier. He's a perfect example. He's an amazing musician. He's extremely creative. Everything from odd, his incredible ability to play, but just shaking keys on the music stand is music to Ron. And it's a very interesting idea. But keep that creative process rolling. Am I being too long-winded?
No, don't worry about it. We'll edit down whatever doesn't contribute to the message.
Okay.
How in turn does that contribute to the corporate objectives? How in turn will a vibrant jazz community contribute to corporations in the area? In other words, how do we give back?
That's the hardest question. Mm-hmm. I think in the end, what you'll have is a sort of a community of musicians that like Lincoln Center in New York, where Wynton plays, and he's the head of the orchestra there. Jazz is considered in America, our true art form, and one of our original art forms. It began here, and what we need to do is, like in recent years, it seems to be more loved and embraced by Europeans. We need to make sure that here in America that we embrace this art form and that we acknowledge it, and by those, if we can continue to make it, and it needs to be recognized for what it is, not just a pop music genre that's here today and gone tomorrow, but we need to remember that this got started a little before this, a little after the Civil War, and it's been going on. It's been growing ever since. And that's same thing I bring up with that tree. That's how big that tree is, and the branches have spread out, and that's how I think we can help corporate America, because if they want to get behind this, we can show that our arts and our culture is thriving here, and we take our own.
Is there anything else you would like to say?
I don't know. I've talked like like my wife on a Red Bull.
That's very good. It's a lot of heart, and we'll add it to what.
Well, there is a lot of heart in it, and some of those questions are really hard. The one about how it reflects on the corporate community,
What happens is corporations invest a lot of money into enriching the arts, because what attracts employees to a community is people want to be part of a community that's enriched by the arts.
Oh, see, there's a great answer.
You want to
should
say
be
that
sitting
in camera?
here.
I'll say that in camera.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So let me ask you again: how will, in turn, how do we contribute to the corporate community?
Well, I think people, they love jazz. They'll come to a place that has jazz. I mean, we're lucky here because, with the Rocky Mountains, well, obviously Denver's a beautiful place to live, and the mountains are beautiful, and we have, jazz festivals in the mountains. But those things will draw people to Colorado and to the Denver community, and lend to the proliferation, and I'm just choking all over myself here. Did I say anything at all there?
But just say that it contributes to attracting high caliber, good employees and retaining them.
Okay,
Yeah.
right.
Say
2-1.
that. Say that.
Okay, and there's a reason why, you know, people move here from all over the United States. It's because we are culturally advanced. We have a lot of great jazz, great art, museums. We have a great symphony, and that's part of what brings good corporate people here, because they want to be part of a community like that.
Fantastic.
Okay.
Very good.